Thank you for joining us for today's Criterion Learning Series. Today we're going to be covering Criterion and Clair. Clair is an on-demand pay option that we have in the system here. Today's presentation is going to be a little bit different because I can't actually show Clair in my system because I don't want to actually set up my Ted Lasso to get a pay card and stuff like that. So I would have to do a presentation here. We do have Cause here from Clair. He's a representative of Clair, and we do have our chat open and a Q&A open if you have any questions on this. One of the very first things I want to mention here is that Clair is for the United States. So you're certainly welcome to stick around and watch if you are not from the United States, but it's available for our US clients only. So if you are not from the US, you will not be able to enable this. So that's what this is for here. So let's go through this real quick, talking about on-demand pay. So what is Clair and earned wage access? So what it is it allows you to use the hours or salary that you've already earned, or I should say you being the employee, use the hours and salary earned to get paid early. As you are probably aware, you know, in the current environment, there's a lot of stresses on people's finance. And of course, you know, they get a paycheck every 2 weeks or 7 monthly or something like that. And this allows them to get paid a little bit early. They could use their existing hours that they've already worked, or in fact, if they're a salaried person, the salary they have already earned, to get paid a little bit early. And you can see here some of the drivers of employee stress. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but obviously there's a lot of things that can happen, you know, emergencies or just dealing with things that are, you know, that are in between your two paydays. If you're, let's say, bi-weekly or 7-monthly. So, you know, we want to be able to help to resolve this issue here. And of course, there are some other options for how employees can handle financial situations like that. So there are pay cards that are available that people can use basically as a replacement for a bank. If they don't have a bank, a traditional bank, they can get paid on a pay card. They can use that card, you know, as at an ATM or at a store, things like that. The problem with that is that it is limited, and there are many times there's fees to use it. Let's say to get cash out, something like that, they charge fees on top of that. There are employee assistance programs out there for employees who are experiencing a financial hardship, but those aren't really designed for day-to-day emergencies. You know, your car breaks down, it's not very easy to use an employee assistance program to get it fixed, that kind of thing. So it's not flexible enough to be able to handle that. And then, of course, there's a 401k plan. So people can, of course, set money aside for retirement and a 401k, a 403b, 457. But, you know, that is going to be limited as far as what you can do. Maybe take out a 401k loan, or there are certain withdrawals people can make. But they also are limited in how much they can save. There's a certain amount per year, you know, so you can only do so much. So as a result, on-demand pay has become increasingly a more popular benefit out there. So you can see some of the benefits are out here, and on-demand pay is practically the most important benefit out there. So you can see, you know, medical insurance, of course, is very important to people, but on-demand pay has been growing. So you can see out there, it is a very important benefit that we now offer using Clair within our system. All right, so you'll see here what it's saying. Clair allows employers to get employees paid daily. It doesn't cost the employees or the employer anything extra. It doesn't change how you do your payroll. Everything is basically the same, except for somebody can get access to their money before payday. All right, so you'll see here, it's a digital banking app that will be used, and people can use that. They can see how much is available to get in advance. And they also can get a separate account where they can save money. It's a high yield savings account. So they can use that there. And of course, you know, there is a debit card that comes with it when they sign up for it. And you'll see that there's a 3% cash back on gas and groceries, which are two of the main things that people are going to be spending money on, of course. So very important to be able to have that offer out there. All right, so how's Clair a little bit different? So it's free for employers. There's no cost to you as an employer. In fact, it's very hands-off as an employer. You don't see any difference when you're doing payroll. You process payroll like you normally are, and Clair takes care of the back end of How does it handle any money that the people did advance and so forth? It's also free to the employees. They're not having to pay a fee every time they use their card or anything like that. If they would like to use it, it's available for them. Doesn't have any implementation. Well, let me see. There's one thing you need to check. One simple checkbox to set it up, but that's it. That's all you need to do. And then the employee actually goes through a step to sign up for Clair. But the employer, after you check that box, that's all you need to do there. It's available without any liability or financial risk. So what that means is that if there's some type of issue with the employee, Clair is going to be the one who handles any type of liability or financial risk. It does not come back to the employer at all. It is available in all 50 states. So that's why I said it's only in the US, but it's available in all 50 states. And then there is full-time support available for Clair. All right, so how does it help your employees? Let's talk about this here. So the employees can really do three different things. They can borrow from themselves for free, like I said, basically getting an advance, but without extra fees to pay for that advance. If they work those hours, if they have that salary, they are able to get that money early. Of course, there is as I mentioned, a high yield savings account that's linked to it, and they can save their money into there every pay period, or put some of their money into that every pay period. And then because the debit card is fee-free at up to over 40,000 ATMs, they don't get charged anything extra if they need to take cash out. All right, here I'm not going to read all the reviews, but it is very highly rated on both the Apple App Store and Google Play. All right, so here you can see here workers using Clair's to fund their everyday expenses. So you can see some of the places where Clair is used. As you can see, the most important one there: grocery stores and supermarkets. So they can use that money when they need to buy food for themselves, for their family. The second one, if you combine them together, it's over 33% there, eating out, going to restaurants and stuff like that. And then service stations. So that's going to be like maybe a gas station, something like that, where they are going to use that. Again, more restaurants you'll see there. And then other things. I'm not going to go into all the other things, but a lot of things that people are having to pay for on a daily or weekly basis. All right, so how does this benefit you as an employer? Well, you'll see here, it can help you with your hiring. So you have that as an option out there for your employees. You can make that as part of your applicant. Here's an open job. Here's some of our benefits out there. And you'll see here that Clair has found that when that is included in some of those benefits for the company, that it actually increases the number of applications up to 2 times. So that could be great to increase your applicant pool. Also, because people are getting paid based off their hours worked, if they're not already working full time, they can, you put a shift out there that somebody, can pick up. People are more likely to pick up those shifts because, hey, they need money. They can see that shift is available, and then they can get paid on that work very quickly. And then, of course, increase in the employee retention there. So one more reason to stay with a company, not only to apply, but once you're there, one more reason to stay because they have that option available. All right. So Clair, as I mentioned, is already in the system. So all you need to do, you really shouldn't say no implementation, but because it's literally a checkbox, that's all you need to do is turn on checkbox, and then it's available for you. There's nothing else administrators, HR, payroll has to do. That's just done in the system with one checkbox, and then you're done. That's all the setup is going to be. As I mentioned, there's no liability for the employers. So Clair handles anything that would potentially be a liability that goes on to Clair, and they would deal with that there. And the other thing is there is no impact at all to payroll. You would process payroll exactly the same as you do today. Clair handles any situations where there was an advance. They will handle all that, and you don't even have to know that the employee has used it. All right, you'll see how do you get Clair for your business. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's very simple to do. And so let's show you the Clair experience is embedded in the system. I'll show you how that's going to work here. So here you can see how it works. So basically the employees, they'll be able to go in there, and there's in the menu, the quick menu, there's a option where they can say get paid early, and they can sign up for it. So that's how easy it is to do them. They create an account, they provide some information, to create their account, and then the employees can get paid early for every shift that they work, or however they want to use that. They can, of course, spend their funds anywhere that they want with a physical or virtual debit card. And then when it's actually payday, Clair takes care of any paid wages that are already paid early. So they handle that on their side there. As I mentioned, it's already in your platform, so there is really nothing you need to do, and employees can sign up right inside of the system, right in self-service. They can sign up for that and use the system there. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing here for just 1 second. I'm going to bring up a demo for how this works. But before I do the demo, I'm going to show you the one checkbox that needs to be done in the system to do this. So give me 1 second to switch this around. All right, so apologize, a little bit of a clicking here to get to this. And I'm going to show you the one setting that we need to turn on to enable this in your system. So in your settings here, so you go to your administration, clicking on the gear up here in the upper right-hand corner. Under payroll settings, for each employer that you want to use Clair for, you'll see right here, there's a checkbox that says on-demand pay Clair. That's it. That's all you need to do to enable it. Check the box, hit update, and then it's enabled. So super easy to sign up for it. There, as you saw, there's no like forms you need to sign or anything like that. As an administrator, you simply check that box. The caveat being, it does need to be a U.S. employer. So the work location or work locations for the employer do need to be within the U.S. So you can't have, like, let's say UK work location for that employer as the only location. You'll get a message saying that it's not supported. So make sure you have a U.S. state in there, a zip code, and a state in there, so that we know that you're in the U.S. All right, so that's it. If you do have multiple employers, of course, you'd have to go to the other employer and check it off for that particular one. All right, once you do that, let me just show you what happens. Up here in the top, you're going to have get paid early, and that's going to initiate the sign up for this. And I'm going to show you that. I'm going to go through a little demo here for how that works. So give me 1 second to do that. All right, so let me share this here. All right, so I'm going to step through how this works. Of course, the first thing is going to be the employee has to be logged into the system. Now, this is also available in the mobile app. If it's enabled, you'll be able to do this in the mobile app. There's an option to get paid early in there. This might be easier to do it in self-service just because it's a little bit bigger screen, but they can do it in the mobile app if they like. So once they log in, as I mentioned, in the top right, you're going to have get paid early. So that's going to be enabled. And that will only be enabled if that checkbox I just showed you is turned on. So the employee would go and click on get paid early. It's going to pop up a widget right in the middle of the screen. That's going to walk them through the different steps. So you'll see here the Clair widget. They can just scroll down to the bottom of the Clair widget to go forward. And first thing you need to do is put in their phone number. That's just verifying that it's their phone number. You'll get a verification code. You may be familiar with this. Other systems have a situation where they text you a code, and you'll put that code right into the system there. All right. If they were referred by a coworker, the coworker can provide them a code for that. This is optional. As you see here, they can just skip this step if they were not referred by somebody else, but possibly there's a coworker who's been using it for a little while and they say, hey, this is really great, you should sign up for it. They can refer somebody and they might have a code for that. Of course, their email address. So they'll have to put that in there. Pretty straightforward. Their address information. So want to make sure that address information is correct. Again, they do need to be in the United States. All right. Their name, date of birth. Make sure all that is correct in there. All right. They're just verifying where the card is going to be sent. Once the setup is complete, it's going to send to their address. So make sure that is correct there. Here's where they're going to identify or verify their identity by putting in their social security number. All right, so they'll check those two things there. And then there's a little checkbox that they have to check off right there. And then it'll take a couple of minutes for the identity to be verified. So that way we're making sure that actually they are who they say they are. And then they're going to see a little animation right here that tells them their MasterCard is on their way. So really that's all they need to do as far as the setup is concerned. And then they could say what is the distribution they're going to be using for their paycheck. So in order to use the on-demand pay, there does need to be some money put into Clair. They can't just say no money and going into Clair. They need to actually put some money in there. So they can do that, but they can also split it with other accounts that they might be already using if they already are using direct deposit for something else. All right, and then downloading the app, what that'll do is it will guide them to the App Store. Of course, they could do that on their phone, just searching for Clair on their phone. They could download the app right there. And really, that's it. They'll get a text message that is a link to the app, and they'll go download the app onto their phone. All right, so this is, how obviously if you're familiar with like App Store or Google Play Store, they'll go ahead and open the app, put in their phone number there in the app. This is what the app's going to look like here. Again, we're going to verify that they own that phone number by sending them a code. So they'll type in the code there. And then they need to create a password for the account. So the employee will come up with a password there. And then that's it. Now they're ready to use Clair. As you can see, this is similar to those screenshots I sent you earlier here. It's going to show how much they can advance. This is going to be coming from the system in the back end, as I mentioned. There's going to be basically a connection between our data, the criterion data, and Clair that tells the system or tells Clair how many hours they have worked, or if they're a salaried person, so they don't have hours, how much they're getting per pay period. So that will allow them to advance something. If they haven't worked any hours in the pay period, they will not be able to do an advance. So as soon as they start working some hours, it'll say, okay, let's say for an example, they're hourly, they get paid $20 an hour. They've worked 8 hours. Well, now they have $160 that they've accrued. I don't believe, I could be wrong, Cause can tell me, but I believe that they can't advance everything, but it will show them how much they can advance. All right, now, once they have used the system for a little while, if they put some money into the high yield savings account, they'll be able to see that number there. And of course, you'll see there how they could transfer that money if they, let's say, want to spend that out of another account or transfer to a checking account, something like that. All right, so how do they do an advance? So as you can see here, this person does have some money to advance. They click the advance button there. Here you'll see how much they can advance. Of course, here you'll see they can advance, if you read the small print here, advance up to $1,265 of spending to my spending account. They can put in a number by just typing in how much they want. This will tell them how much is available. So if they have $500 available, of course, it would say 500 or something like that. And you'll see the limit per pay period or for this pay period and how much they've already advanced. And if they want to see previous advances, if they've done any in the past, they can click right there. And of course, they can put in see how many hours they've worked. So once they put in that amount, they'll tap confirm, and that's it. So now that money would be on their card that they can use. So that $50 would be available for them on the debit card that they have. Of course, if it's the same day they just signed up, the debit card's not going to be in their possession yet. But once they have the card, they'll be able to use it right away. All right, so that is, in a nutshell, how to set it up on the employer side, checking the one box, and then how the employees can sign up for it and how they can use the software. So I saw there were a couple of chat messages in here and a Q&A. Let's see, Olivia asked, and this is going to be a question for Cause to answer. Is there a limit to how many advances they can take? Do they need to earn the advance back before taking another one?
Yeah. I'm happy to answer this one live, Steve. When it comes to the advances, Olivia, the algorithm that we have right now allows up to 50% of the gross earnings available after every shift. And that's the limit that the employees will have. So if the employees have earned $200 in this shift, they will see $100 available right after the shift is completed within the available to advance box that you're seeing on the screen. That number is cumulative. So every day that a shift is completed, it will be added on top of the existing funds available up until the employee chooses that they need an advance. And then when payday comes and they receive their paycheck, they will automatically repay the advances that they've taken so far in the pay period, so you wouldn't have to keep track of that reconciliation within your payroll system. Hope that helps answer there, but let me know if there's any further questions.
You said thank you. So,
Absolutely.
all right. So, yeah. So, like we said, this is very easy for the payroll administrators. After you check that box, there's literally nothing else you need to do. You won't even really know that anybody's using the advances because it's all handled by Clair. Basically, what happens is the money will get transferred to their account when you process payroll. And that's how the advance is repaid, because the money goes to Clair. And then, it gets distributed from there. If they have an advance, it pays it back. And then the remainder would go out to be on their card or to their savings account or however else they split out their direct deposit. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Cos, but I believe that's exactly what it will do.
Absolutely, you're correct here, Steve. So just like any other bank account that employees have set up to receive their paychecks through direct deposit, Clair is going to work the same way. They're going to receive their paycheck on payday, repay back advances that they've taken through our flexible on-demand pay offering, and the rest of the funds will be deposited into their spending account that is connected to their debit card. One other cool feature with Clair is that they can access the map of all the ATMs available near them by clicking on the section that says card there in the bottom, and they can put in a zip code and see where is the closest ATM that they can go to access their funds.
Is there a PDF copy of this demo? Yeah, we can send over the slideshow, right?
We can absolutely send this demo as a clickable walkthrough. And I think we also have a PDF version of just the steps and the pictures behind them. So I'll make sure to share that with the Criterion team, Olivia, so they can send that to you after the presentation.
And then Paralia asks, is there any interest charge for people taking in advance?
Absolutely not. The Clair model is free to employees. They access their earnings for free. There's no interest, there's no fees associated with that. One of the questions that we get a lot from businesses, especially as well, if it's free to my employees and to my business, how do you guys make money? And that's a very valid question. One of the good things about Clair's model is that because it is structured as a bank account, we actually have the ability to make revenue from the merchants where employees choose to purchase and use their funds through something called interchange. Clair has partnered with MasterCard, which means that every time the employees use their MasterCard debit card to spend funds, MasterCard shares a portion of that revenue that they make from the merchants back to Clair. And that model allows employees to not have to pay for the benefit of on-demand pay or for the bank account, but instead relies on them just enjoying the feature and encouraging them to spend the funds through Clair.
All right. I don't see any other questions out here. So as we mentioned, we can send you this presentation, first the slideshow, the original slideshow, if you're interested in that, as well as the interactive one. We can send it as a PDF. Can we send the interactive one too, Cos, or is that only
we can absolutely send it as well.
Okay.
But I'll provide a PDF version in case that's easier to share with the employees.
Sure. All right. So thank you for joining us today. A little bit different than our normal ones because it was more of a slideshow presentation than a lot of interactivity, just because there's not a lot to do in the system. And unfortunately, I can't show it because I can't open a bank account as Ted Lasso. I'm not Ted Lasso. So I can't do that. But I did want to mention that in 2 weeks, we do have our next Criterion Learning Series on offer letters. That one is available for everybody, not limited to the United States. So if you're here today and you'd like to join us in 2 weeks for that, please feel free to join us then. And otherwise, thank you again for joining us. And we hope you see the benefit of Clair, and we can get that rolling out to you. If you do have any questions on it, you can always reach out to support just by clicking the help in the system or calling us. Let me just bring that up real quick here, just because I normally have a presentation showing that number, but if you look at the bottom of my screen, this is support. Now, if you're working with a partner, of course, you can reach out to your partner, but here you can reach out to us via email or giving us a call to ask any questions you might have on that, or if you can't remember where to check the box. Very simple, but it's not necessarily right in your face. Just check that box and enable it. So thank you again for joining us. I hope to see you all again in a couple of weeks.
Thank you all.